running out of time.
He's not
Flash 2.
The hell he isn't. Ezekiel, do you have any control over the sub?
Only auxiliary power, propulsion.
Okay, listen carefully. I need you to throttle the propellers to maximum speed and come straight at us.
I'm sorry, you want to get blown up sooner.
It takes at least 400 yards for a torpedo to arm itself. The closer you get to the museum, harder it is to detonate.
That makes sense. Almost.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Torpedoes away!
Hold on.
Welcome, welcome. One more hand, guys. Come on, Rebecca.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to talk about the show. It's such a fun show, as that clip displays. I mean, tell me a little bit about working on a show that combines all the best parts of entertainment. You know, the laughs, the action. You know, what's it like for you?
Well, having done quite a bit of sci-fi before this, I grew up loving Star Wars. I saw Star Wars in the theater, dating myself just a little bit. Twilight Zone was my favorite show. Star Trek was my favorite show on TV. I used to watch the X-Men cartoon series. And of course, you know, with the X-Men series that I was a part of, I hadn't ever done action adventure. You know, I loved Indiana Jones as a kid. So when this came along, the doing action adventure with comedy, it just felt like exactly what I wanted to be a part of. And, you know, it is like Indiana Jones, but Flynn Carson, as Noah Wyle describes him, is like Indiana Jones if Indiana Jones was played by Don Knotts. We're ridiculous. Yeah. We know exactly what we are, and you know, it's a fun show. This season we're going a little bit darker, a little bit scarier. Yeah. There will be a couple deaths this season, including the death of a major character. Wow. You know, and it's just something they play around with tonally, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if it's Indiana Jones, you get to do all the fun stuff. You know, what did you think about Eve when you first read the first couple scripts, you know, for season 1?
Well, you know, Eve wasn't sure what she was getting herself involved with at the beginning, and neither did Rebecca. I was not familiar. You know, the series is a spin-off from the 3 movies that Noah Wyle made, the 3 Librarians movies, 3 Librarian movies. Yes. And I wasn't familiar with those movies. But again, the genre was something that spoke to me. I was a huge Noah Wyle fan. Christian Kane and I go way back. Couldn't wait to work with John Larroquette. And Lindy Booth has become one of my dearest friends in the world. So everything, we're now by season 3, the camaraderie is there. We're a well-oiled machine. We work really long hours. We work very quickly, and we play off of each other. It's really fun. But everybody has to come to set prepared. Yeah. We don't suffer fools.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, tell me about how building that sort of charisma between a crew that's maybe doesn't know each other, and then you have to play an ensemble, you know, that's getting to know each other. So what was that like? Did you guys have some time to prep that, or was it straight on set?
No, we hit the ground running. We shoot our episodes in 7 days. And hour-long television is not for the faint of heart. We shoot in Portland, Oregon, so all of us move there during production. And, you know, we get ourselves to set in the morning. We've rented apartments for ourselves. We rent our own cars. We get ourselves to set. And usually there are locations that are an hour away, and we're trying to find it in the dark, and it's 5 a.m. And, you know, sometimes we're in panic mode from like 5 a.m. until 9 p.m. when we finally wrap, but it's so fun, and there's such a great sense of accomplishment when you're shooting, you know, 10 pages in a day and you're getting that much done, and we have such a good time doing it. We have so much fun with each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And how much fun do you get to play with this character? I mean, playing a NATO agent. I mean, did you get to go deep on the research? Were you Googling all night before you showed up?
Googling all night. I mean, I had done a certain amount of weapons training and martial arts training even prior to this. Of course, I've been involved in quite a few fight scenes before this show, and I had done some weapons training. And we did have NATO experts on set giving me pointers. I mean, in the beginning, it was like, okay, would it look like this? If you know, how do I, you know, exactly, how would I be standing if I was doing this? You know, there are certain things that, of course, I want to make sure we get it right. And again, with our fight scenes, which we do, we sometimes don't have time to learn them. I mean, we're learning them as we're going, and if we get something close to it in the first take, we move on because we don't have time. So, you know, it's fast.
Is anybody getting clipped? Anybody getting hit accidentally?
Once in a while, a little bit, you know, but we tough it out.
That's
we
amazing.
rub dirt in it and move on.
There we go. I like that. Yeah. I mean, do you think your familiarity with sort of the action component was something that was great for the creators to have you there?
I do
Yeah.
enjoy it. It's a different part of your brain that you have to use. It's different than memorizing dialogue. And it does break up our day a little bit, especially because we work such long hours. I don't necessarily get to go to the gym, so it does help keep me in shape. But it's like learning dance choreography, and fight choreography and dance choreography are very similar. And sometimes, when we're shooting 10 pages of dialogue, to break up the day with just, running down the street for 4 blocks, it's a nice break in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, to have a character sort of become more familiar over, you're going into your 3rd season now. I mean, do you feel like you understand this character more, or are you learning
and also,
still?
Eve Baird didn't understand why she was selected for the library in the beginning. The librarians in training were selected for their set of skills, and Eve Baird didn't understand why she was necessary, but she also has a very specific set of skills that are very useful, and of course, she is the brawn of the group, and she is their great protector. I like to think of her as kind of like a German shepherd, like fiercely loyal and devoted, and nothing comes before them, She now understands exactly why she's there. And she didn't believe in magic in the beginning, and here she is. She's the one that's actually crossed into different dimensions and parallel universes, and seen the librarians in different dimensions, the librarians in training as the librarian. And for example, at the end of season 1, she traveled to parallel universes where she saw each librarian in training as the librarian. So she knows what that looks like. And season 3, she's going to help get them there faster. She knows what their potential is, and she wants to help with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, the effects are just getting better and better as well. I mean, how is it for you, like, you've worked
I thought our effects were delightfully shabby in the beginning.
No, I just mean they keep on.
Again, it's part of the charm of the show. But yes, our effects are getting better and better. And a lot of our show we shoot from our imagination. We don't know what it is we're looking at. We're like, well, okay, what are we looking at? Is it a spark or is it an explosion?
Yeah.
Okay, how far up does it go? Where are we all looking? Like, and then when we see the end result, we're watching it for the first time just like the audience is. We're like, oh, that's what that looked like.
That's got to be a lot of fun for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do you guys, I mean, obviously you've got a family. Is this something that, you can watch with the family?
Well,
and
yeah.
Are they tied into it?
The show is a light, fun, silly family show. Again, we are going darker this season. I don't know if my kids will be okay with that, but no, it's great. It's a great family show, and it's important for me as a mother of daughters who are about to turn 8. The show takes me away from them for several months out of the year. They're with me for part of it, but they adore the show. They get to enjoy the product of what it is that takes their mother away from them. They've developed a healthy sense of greed. They want stuff, so now they understand that mommy's got to go make the money to buy them the stuff that they want. They love the cast and they love the show, and it's important to me that we can enjoy the thing that's taking me away from them.
Yeah,
together.
Absolutely, and you have
it's a strong role model. I mean, she's a great character for them to look at.
Absolutely, and speaking of having to go away, I mean, your husband's an actor as well. I mean, do you guys talk a lot about the roles that you're choosing, and how much does he weigh in on? You're doing Librarians. What he feels about that.
What's the question?
How you guys discuss roles that you're about to take
with each other?
Yeah,
or with
exactly.
Our kids?
With each other, yeah.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. It's if it's something that feels like you haven't done it before, if it feels fresh, if it feels like it could have legs. Again, you sometimes start these shows and they don't work, and for whatever reason, it could be lots of different reasons. It could be when it airs. It could be the writing. It could be the acting. It could be all sorts of reasons that these shows don't take off. And for whatever reason, Librarians has stuck.
Yeah.
So, it is nice to be married to another actor. We do talk about work a lot, and it's fun for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And, when you're getting the scripts for the 3rd season, what were you feeling? I mean, once it's getting darker, once it's getting more serious, I mean, I think the the trailer teases to, a big battle between evil and good. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about, were you expecting it to go tonally that way, or was that something?
They did tell us from
Yeah.
the outset. They told us when we first started the series that there is a loose 5-year plan for the show. Oh, wow. And I don't know how closely they've stuck with that. We always have a through line for each season, and then we also have standalone episodes. So season 3 is the same. We have 2 different adversaries this season. The first is Apep, the Egyptian god of chaos, who's bent on
These guys' names are so serious on
I
the
know.
show. I mean, I don't know how you read that and you're get prepared for it mentally.
Some are better than others. Like last season, we had Moriarty, which was really great to give it some gravitas. And this time it was like Apep. It was hard to really let that one sound evil. Apep. It was, how do we ground that one?
Yeah.
But he's bent on releasing pure evil into the world and getting the library out of our control. We also have the other adversary this season is DOSA, which stands for the Department of Statistical Anomalies, which is a military-based, it's a government agency that now realizes that magic is out there, and they believe they should be in charge of the magic, not us. And they have the librarians labeled as terrorists. And the head of DOSA is played by Vanessa Williams.
Yes. She looks very intense in the
She's
in the trailer.
intense in this, and she and I have a history together from Ugly Betty. So it was amazing having Vanessa. No one is better than Vanessa. She is just the most gorgeous, gracious, talented human being, and we were so lucky to have her this season. And we got to play some really fun scenes together, so that was great.
I mean, it must be such a delight to have a show that's been running as long as this, and then have guest stars come in. I'm sure people are coming up to you I'd love to do.
We have Sean Astin
Yes.
this season. We have magic carnival that we have to infiltrate. We have to go undercover as clowns to a magic carnival. So Sean Astin guest starred this season for that episode. That was actually one of my favorite moments this season. We entered these other dimensions through portals, and it's always through a different door. And so when we went to the Magic Carnival, the portal happened to be the clown car, because we're undercover as clowns. So we all come tumbling out of a clown car. And the clown car they got for us was a smart car. And they actually had all 4 of us stuffed inside a smart car for a full 5 minutes before they called action, and we were crammed in there like sardines. It was so funny. I did get a selfie of us in there.
You have to get really comfortable with your cast if you're getting piled into a smart car.
We're close.
Absolutely. I mean, speaking of that, are you guys, when you get the scripts and once you're back in LA or your respective home, are you staying pretty closely in touch? Are you talking about the scripts that you're reading? Hey, did you see this?
We get the scripts. We get the scripts when we're
while you're out there in
so when
Portland.
we're up in Portland is when we get the scripts. Yeah. And yeah, we text each other constantly, and we're usually on set shooting, episode 2 when episode 3 lands in our laps, and so we're sitting next to each other, in our cast chairs, reading, the next
furiously
episode together.
reading, seeing and making
Yeah.
sure they hit that page by then. I mean, when you're talking about, characters that unfortunately have to get killed off, how's the group process that I'm sure has got to be difficult?
We were briefed on the arc of the season before we even started the first episode, so it wasn't a surprise to anyone, and we knew what it was we were going toward. So it is what it is, and people have to tune in to find out.
Absolutely. And once you guys, film, the 3rd season, are you guys already talking about where you want your characters to go? Eve, do you already have a plan for where you'd like to see her?
No, it's not. I'm not the writer. We're not the writer's room, so we leave it in their hands.
Yeah.
Of course, we do have meetings with Dean Devlin to toss ideas around. We'll do that closer to the next season. Fingers crossed we get picked up again. Yeah. You never know.
Absolutely. As far as the writer, obviously they have the blueprint and everything, but I'm sure they've sort of changed the character a little bit towards your performance. What things have you been allowed to bring in?
I don't want to spoil anything, but I made a pretty specific request for this season that Dean went through with, and I was thrilled about.
Yeah.
But I don't want to spoil anything. It would give something away.
I'm joking.
Well, I will say this.
Yes.
Because Eva Baird comes from a military background, she's always been very loyal to the military, but over the last three years, she's become very loyal to the library as well. So when DOSA comes into play, this military-based agency, her allegiance is torn a little bit.
And talk about, having this, this series, and then, coming from films as well. I mean, you did, like you said, the X-Men series. I mean, how do you like the difference between the two things? Do you like being able to stay with a character a little bit longer, or?
Like being able to stay with the character a little bit longer. Love being able to develop these relationships. I think there is better TV out there than, on the whole, than good movies. I love working in television. With movies, you have a lot more time. Sometimes you have a lot more money, and it's a slower pace, and that can be nice for a very, very, very polished product. But in television, it's more fun as an actor to work as quickly as we do, and you do have this deep sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, and for somebody who's had some amazing roles and things that have lived in pulp culture for a little bit, and now with the streaming services, Netflix and Amazon, people are like finding movies for the first time. Do you ever have like a crazy interaction where someone's found a movie that you did like 10 or 20 years ago?
It does happen, and sometimes movies pop up on cable that have never been on cable before, and now all of a sudden, like, everyone's like, oh, I'm watching you on Godsend all weekend long, or whatever, like random movies. I'm like, oh, I forgot about that movie.
I mean, what do you find people react to the most? I mean, I'm sure the X-Men movies, I mean, you were so great in that. That character
definitely
was like...
the X-Men movies. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, definitely the X-Men movies is what people respond to. I guess The Punisher keeps popping up lately, so that's been coming up.
So good, yeah. The series just started again. I'm sure, to have these things be, parts, these stories that you've taken a part of, and then have them reborn.
Yeah.
Like the Punisher series is coming out, and X-Men came out again. I mean, what's it like to watch like somebody sort of do a performance or a character that you might have done before and watch
Are
it?
you talking about Jennifer Lawrence?
Any of them, absolutely. I mean, with the Punisher, possibly.
I have to be honest, I haven't kept up with the X-Men series. I don't really have an opinion.
Yeah.
I think she's awesome. I'm thrilled to share the role of Mystique with her. I'm thrilled to have originated it.
Yeah.
She is super talented and super cool, and I'm sure she's doing a great job, but I haven't kept up.
And when you're at home, do you ever get a chance to watch series? Do you find yourself being a fan of series yourself?
Oh, yeah.
What are you watching?
Gosh, I just discovered The Night Of.
Yes, so good.
Of course, it's just
Riz Ahmed is
amazing.
fantastic.
Obsessed. Like, I can't wait to watch. I'm not done, so nobody tell me anything. Stranger Things, of course. I loved People vs. OJ and the ESPN documentary series. I almost liked it. I mean, I loved them both. I just ate them up. Orphan Black, I adore. Masters of Sex, I love. I watch a lot of TV.
Yeah, this is
and
a great
then
list.
of course I watch, some reality television.
Is there ever, do you ever see a show that you would love to do? Like, is there one at the top of your list that you would love to do?
The last time that happened was Ugly Betty. I happened to see the pilot for Ugly Betty and became obsessed with it and called them and said, what can I do to be a part of this show? That was the last time I was like...
It worked out.
And it worked out. Yeah.
So what's the next one that you want to do?
I don't know. My plate's full right now.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely.
I haven't really put my head I haven't thought like that.
Yeah. Is there a kind of role still out there that you would love to take on?
Yeah, I haven't. I was a music major in college, and I sing, and I would love to do something musical at some point.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone, but it's something I would like to do.
Is there a favorite musical that you have?
Oh yeah, I mean, I love a lot of musicals. I was in the Gilbert and Sullivan troupe as a kid. I did a lot of Gilbert and Sullivan. I mean, Sound of Music is my favorite movie of all time. I love The Music Man. I love Gypsy. Dreamgirls, I don't know. There's a ton. I'm a musical theater geek.
Yeah, and with Eve, I mean, where can we see her go? Where can people get excited for this next season? People who've been fans of it.
Well, there's been romance brewing. She and Flynn did not like each other that much in the beginning, and it's been a real roller coaster for them romantically. And we begin season 3. Flynn and Eve are together. They've been off adventuring together. I think that's their idea of a romantic time. I think that their idea of a good date is a super dangerous adventure. But again, as all romances are, we continue to be on a roller coaster, and it goes up and down, and that's how we draw these series out as long as we can.
Absolutely. And how do you guys sort of decompress after you guys have these crazy days in Portland? Is there anything that you've taken up in Portland that you?
No, we go home and prep for the next day. I mean, it's like sometimes it's like just a race to get home, to learn your dialogue for the next day, and then get to bed as soon as possible so that you're rested and you have yourself together.
Yeah.
Portland it's a quirky place. It's eccentric. One of our part-time camera operators is the world champion. Is the world champion beard winner. He's got the biggest beard in the entire world.
That's incredible.
He actually won in Austria, and
I have to look this guy up. Where is he? Where can we see this
Madison
beard?
Rowley. He's on my Instagram page. Madison Rowley is his name, and he's got a really impressive beard. But they had the second annual Beardsman Championships of Portland, and I was asked to judge that this summer. So
wow.
So I did. I partook.
Wow.
Pretty incredible.
That's
special.
What are you judging for as far as beards?
There was lots of different criteria. There were different, there was a bunch of different categories and different
Thickness,
lengths.
yeah.
I went in and I did a smell check on every single one. And you know what?
This is intensive.
They cleaned up. You would think that it was disgusting. They all smelled great.
That's great. Well, it's going to be hard to follow that, but I hear there's some questions out there in the audience, so let's go there.
Hello, Rebecca.
Hi.
I think you're an amazing actress.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I would like to know if you were invited back to play Mystique in the X-Men movies, would you do it?
Sure. Yeah. I get asked that. If I were asked, I'm open to it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Next question right there.
How you doing, Rebecca?
Hi.
Which actor and director would you like to work with in the future?
Baz Luhrmann. Yeah. I love Baz Luhrmann.
Speaking of musicals, absolutely.
Yeah. I think he's highly stylized and amazing. The Coen brothers, I'm a huge fan of. David Fincher, huge fan of. Sort of a little De Palma-esque, so talented.
It's a great list. There we go. One last question right there.
Hi, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I was wondering, do you think that your musical theater training helped you kind of transition into TV? Or did that kind of prepare you?
I have to say specifically, having grown, I've probably been in 6 or 7 different Gilbert and Sullivan operettas, and we all learned every single song in every single one of those shows, and it's such fast-paced singing and dialogue that it helped me learn how to speed talk.
That's amazing, guys. Well, tune into the Librarians on TNT November 20th, and thank you so much, Rebecca. One more hand for Rebecca, guys.